What is going on, you champions? How good is this? We are here on a Tuesday night, and that's, you know how we do it. You know how we do it. It's another Jimna Rock special. So they're coming in thick, they're coming in fast. Don't forget, keep an eye out, keep on liking, keep subscribing, because the tickets are coming up. The ticket giveaways are coming up very hot and fast. You got to go on to Two Dudes Talk Music. Go get that going on. We're gonna have it. Double passes. 3 double passes to give away, 1 on Two Dudes Talk Music, 2 on this. Keep an eye out. Make sure you keep your ear to the ground. But tonight, we're not here to talk about that. Or we are here to talk about Jimna, but we're here to talk about one of the bands from Jimna. Tonight, we have on an absolutely fucking fantastic band. I've been vibing this shit all week, and you know what I mean when I say I've been vibing this shit all week. I ain't going to show you. But these guys hit in this weird sort of realm of music that I really can't put my finger on. It's lo-fi, it's rock, it's got country elements in there. It's got so much depth. The recording quality and the production value on the recordings are absolutely fantastic. What is going to come from this band is only going to becoming in leaps and bounds. And tonight we have on the main man, the man himself, Mickey from Munkey Feet. How you going, bud? What is cracking?
Feeling good. Great to be here.
Oh, mate, I'm so happy to have you on for this Jimna Rocks 2023 special, man. How you going this evening, first and foremost?
Good. You're too kind, man. Honestly, my heart's swelling right now. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Because I recorded it all myself. I did all the production myself. So for you to say that the quality of that is good, then that's like, that's the thing.
Well, man, one thing I took away from it, and it's such good quality. The production value is so good, but it seems so empty. The recording seems so empty, yet so full. Like your vocal recordings have so much sort of space in it, the way you've recorded it. When I listen to music, I like to sort of close my eyes and see the band.
Yeah.
But when I normally see bands, I see them standing very close. But
Yeah.
when I hear your music, I can see you guys spread out.
Yeah,
But
right.
it fills the space so wonderfully. So you said
I think it's just because I was broke and I had shitty gear.
Man, don't say that, because seriously, like, it works so well for the music.
Like, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, man.
Because it's such a it's peaceful. It resonates well. It has so much ambience in it too. Like you said,
I wanted something that you could chuck on for a road trip, or like a safe place if you're smoking a joint or you're, on a sunset or something like that. You can just, and you can put it on in the background, but it's also, whenever you want to tune into it, you can get some depth of it.
That is exactly what you have done, and you have hit the nail on the head. If that was your intention, mission accomplished, sir. Like, sincerely. Where did this come from? Give us a bit of a background history on Munkey Feet.
So I've been doing music 10 years with my best friend, Aaron Woodford. We sort of parted ways as a duo called Euphoria Under Fire, and we started doing solo stuff because the money was better. We were doing more gigs solo. We figured, we can get more money just doing it individually. We've got our feet underneath us and all that sort of stuff. And then after a while, I watched a lot of people putting stuff out, and I was doing gigs, and people were coming up to me and were like, dude, that was a sick gig. Where do we find your music? Where can we listen to something? And I kept having to say, sorry, I got nothing for you. I don't know what to tell you. There's a couple of things on YouTube. There's a couple of other bits and pieces here and there. And then it just got to the point where I was like, nah, enough's enough. Just go and get some bits and pieces, borrow guitars, borrow interfaces, do whatever you can. Buy the gear that you can get and just do it. And yeah, went a little insane, and 6 months later came out with an album.
Man, if that is what insanity fucking gets you, then I'll take that any day of the fucking week, my friend. Jesus Christ.
Cheers to going nuts.
Man, so in all seriousness, I have one thing, and it's my motto these days, especially with young and upcoming musicians. There is no fucking excuse not to do something. You have fun, like,
now.
Yeah, the tools are there. You can hire gear, you can borrow gear from friends like you have. Do you know what I mean? If you really have the passion and the drive and you really want to do it, there's no fucking excuse. And this man, Mickey, sitting here, right here, is testament to that.
So on a note to that, so the EP, sorry, I did before that, I was in my childhood bedroom. It was a community housing. There's, to say the least, junkies across the road, people doing all sorts of shit. There's older people, there's couples, there's all sorts of stuff going on. As you can imagine, Department of Housing, it's a bit how you going sometimes. And it's on SoundCloud, so you can find it, but it is all recorded myself. I used my granddad's old shitty guitar that he had lying around the house that had rusted strings on it. I recorded the drums through my iPad just with a just a drum machine, and ran a headphone output into the interface and did that as my drum things and stuff. And yeah, just got it working. And you can actually hear construction out the front in one of the songs. If you turn it up and play it through good speakers, you can hear the construction and the beeping of trucks reversing and shit in the background.
Wow. That is unreal. Like,
it's cool, eh?
How much coming from that first EP, which by the way you have to link me on. You have to send me a link to that. I want to find it. I won't share it if you don't want me to. More than happy just to listen to it in private.
You can share it. It's just
sweet.
Dodgy as.
No, it doesn't matter. But it's all a learning curve. My first recording was fucking dodgy as, and I paid for it. Like how much did you take away from that recording and then getting into it now?
Heaps, yeah. I mean, I've learned how to produce stuff on crappy gear and get it sounding pretty decent, and I'm starting to get all the really good gear and the high-end plugins and all the wave stuff, and it's just all of a sudden you press a button and it's just like, oh, it did the thing that I wanted it to do, instead of having to try to push it to the place where you think it, and then you're never quite there, and you go to your mates and you're like, hey, listen to this song, and you're like, oh, but it's almost there. It's almost there, guys. I'll get it there, but it's almost there.
Dude, because it's unreal. So 10 years ago you started this.
10 years I started playing music with my best friend because I could sing, and he could play guitar.
And when did the concept of Munkey feet evolve?
So I started getting into looping and doing loop pedal stuff. And then because I had to use all my pedals, I got an RC 505, and the 505 it's for your fingers, it's for beatboxes and stuff. And so I started using my toes on that and working the faders and twisting the knobs with my toes. And then all of a sudden I was like, that's actually a thing. I need a new name, a stage name that's not Mickey G. You know, that was what I was using for a little while. And then, just thought, monkey feet, that's perfect, because, you know, monkeys use their feet as hands, and there you go. And I also bounce around like a monkey, and then, yeah.
So you do this whole thing on loop pedal?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought that was... when I watched the live recording that we'll show everyone later on of Runaway, and you had the band there, I thought there was a band, but I had this inkling
that's definitely band.
Oh, and you use loop pedal as well?
No, so we recorded one session through, and then I just played the lead guitar over the top and did a second take.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just to add in that little bit extra, because why not?
Wow. Jeez, you.
And Bailey, the drummer, he jumped on and produced it and mixed it, which was why it sounds so crisp. You can find him on Instagram, Bailey Drummer. He's a weapon, always posting stuff, always uploading stuff.
Bailey Drummer. I'm going to write that down.
Yep. He wears a cap, just like myself. Sends it backwards though.
So that's like that's the thing, that's the look, the hat's always got to be there.
So he's actually moved on to sailing in space now, which is some mates of mine, and they're just absolute weapons. Definitely check them out. They do this crazy, dancey, just big room sounding, just whole lot of energy. They wear spacesuits and bounce around the stage and just go crazy. It's great.
That's excellent. I love that shit. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, okay, then now we got to know. Okay, so the whole concept of monkey feet is you using your feet on the loop pedal when you first sort of started. How did MMK get in contact with you? How did you get found for this pristine, awesome festival?
So you can thank Trip Sitter for that.
Yeah,
one of my favourite bands to come out of Brisbane.
The boys, Trip Sitter.
They are so freaking good.
They are excellent, man.
But funnily enough, I started a festival with one of my good mates, James Dean. He goes by The Delegate as a DJ. He plays festivals and all that sort of stuff. But him and I, we started a music festival called Munkey Fest as
Monkey
an album
Fest.
launch for myself. And then it's turned into a music festival with multiple stages and everything. And then I came across Trip Sitter and was just like, I got to get him. And then put him on. And next thing you know, here we are.
Oh, dude. Those guys, I've had them on. I'm going to have them on again. And they're just, Jack is just a genius. Just
Jack is a weapon, man.
he,
And yeah, they go so hard. Anyone that can pull off Muse and Queen properly, you got my respect any day of the week.
I'm a massive Muse fan. They just know, they just know exactly what the fuck they're doing.
Them and Tool, they're up there.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
did you say Tool?
Yeah.
Oh, more of a Perfect Circle fan.
Yeah, yeah, fair. I
But-
mean, I got love for everyone that's
Yeah.
doing it at that level.
Oh,
Because
man.
to get to that level, what you're doing is just beyond
Oh,
like
dude.
anything.
Man, they paved the way for progressive metal
Mm,
as far as what can be classed as heavy.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And just what you do there, like what I was saying about you before, they can make something sound so empty, but it fills the space,
yeah.
and it's an art, and you've got that down pat.
Cheers, bro. I'm excited for the next stuff. So I'm actually currently just in the studio every day working on new stuff. I'm trying my best to self-record, produce, and do everything, mix and master a 20-song album at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a bit,
Ooh. You going down the Sin Soto route?
you sure?
So there's an Australian metal band called Sin Soto, and for their debut album, they done 20 tracks, double CD, did videos for every track. Whether
that's effort.
yeah, they're mammoths, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're here to talk about Monkey Feet. What can we expect? What I'm interested in, and I can't wait to see it firsthand, but for all the people that haven't seen Monkey Feet or haven't had the pleasure of seeing Monkey Feet, what can we expect from a live Monkey Feet set?
Passion, really. Like that's probably the best word to do it. I sweat within the first song or two because I'm just going as hard as I can. Like I'm a pretty mellow dude most of the time. I do have a bit of ADHD, so I get a bit hyperactive sometimes. But most of the time, I'm pretty mellow. I chill out. I just do my thing, watch TV, study, and play video games and whatnot. But then I get on stage, and it's just balls to the wall as hard as you can. For 45 to an hour, I'm there just sending it, sweating, yelling, just going as hard as I can.
It's rock and
Yeah.
roll, man. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what people pay for, man. Like, you're there to feel something. You're there to go. Like, no one wants to, like, yeah, there's some shows you go to where you sit down and you're like, okay, this is chill, this is nice, this is emotive, this is feeling, this is telling me stories, this is things. But sometimes at a festival, you're there, you've had a few drinks and other things, and you're just ready to go. And you're like, I want to lose my mind in some music and stuff and just, yeah. But from what you can expect from me, I reckon big guitar solos, some fat drums, and heavy bass lines.
Ah, perfect. This is just everything that you need at a Jimna
The
Rocks
Holy
show.
Trinity.
Well, man, the first, like, from the opening track from when I heard you guys on Spotify, because that's how I do all my shit,
Yep.
I was like, these guys are just going to hit so well at Jimna Rocks. They just sit. They sit right there. They're so good. Like, I personally can't wait just to be there. I'm going to be pickled Rick. And just, yeah, I'll probably end up laying down flat on my back and just enjoying it. It'll be fucking so good.
So there's actually a bit more backstory to that album. So it's a concept album.
A concept album. For those,
So it actually
for those
tells a
unlucky
story.
people that don't know what a concept album is, you can explain.
The songs connect from one to the next, and it tells a bigger story if you put them all together, rather than just here's a song about love or heartbreak because a girl dumped me or something. If you listen to all of the songs together and you can see the bigger picture, it's a full story. Tool does it, Pink Floyd does it, Pearl Jam does it every now and then. Yeah, just they go hard on it.
The albums that you're meant to listen to in order, not on shuffle from front to back, and take the time to listen to it properly.
But the art and what a lot of bands can get is when the song itself, if you listen to one individually, you're like, ooh, that's a good song. But then you listen to it all together and you're like, oh, damn, I see what you did there.
Yes. Yeah, what is this, like Pink Floyd and was it Dark Side of the Moon and The Wizard of Oz?
I
If
think I've heard of
supposedly
this.
if you watch them and you hit play at the same time, they work together. They just work. It was totally unintentional, but it just works.
Man, I don't know about the audience if they're into this sort of stuff. Me and a couple of mates, we watched the Yellow Submarine by the Beatles,
Yeah,
the animated movie that they made about their album,
yeah.
and we did it on mushrooms, and it was next level.
Wow.
If anybody's into the psychedelic sort of experiences and stuff, that is a 10 out of 10. Highly recommend, because when they created that album and that thing, they had just traveled around India and they'd gone through all their DMT trips. They'd done all the ayahuascas. They were tripping on acid and mushrooms left, right, and center. Like, they were really down the spiritual and psychedelic realm. And then they wrote Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Bands and Strawberry Fields and all that sort of stuff. And then they made that animated show. So it's like, if you watch it sober, it's a psychedelic trip. But then you watch it on something like mushrooms, and then you see exactly why they created it.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to do that
Yeah.
purely for experimental mental purposes.
100%. It's scientific. Scientific.
That's it. That's it.
But the EP though, so there's 7 songs on it. It starts with Right Here and Now, and I wrote that after Pineapple Festival. And I met this girl at Earth Frequency. We then met up again at Pineapple Festival, and it's about being in the moment, experiencing the here and now, and just letting go of that voice that tells you I shouldn't go up and ask that person out, or if they want to have a dance or drink, or that voice in your head that just tells you stop, just chill the fuck out, and maybe you shouldn't go and you know what I mean, go and talk to that girl that's pretty and she's looked at you a couple of times or something like that. So basically at the festival she was dancing, and her name's Keely, and I was like, oh shit, she's sexy as fuck. And then had a chat to her, ended up spending the whole weekend and stuff. Didn't end up getting intimate or anything, but it was just one of those super wholesome experiences where it was real,
It was spiritual experiences.
Yeah. And so that's what song came out of it. And then so the album itself is from when you meet someone through to the crux of when you start having doubts, and then the tail end to acceptance. So Daydream is the last song, and that's where I'll meet you on the other side is the main lyric of it, and I'll see you on the other side. And that's the acceptance of, look, it didn't work out. Hope you enjoy the ride, and I'll see you somewhere out there, sort of thing.
It wasn't meant to be here and now.
Exactly. And then Nowhere Fast is the duet song. So I had a friend of mine, Savannah Murphy, come
That's a
in and
fantastic song.
Cheers. Appreciate it.
Love her vocals on that.
It's one of my favorites too. And she was super nervous as well. Like, she'd never really sung, never really done any live stuff, never done studio stuff. And I'm like, dude, just come over and give it a crack. And she was super almost mousy and like pulling back. And I'm like, it's cool, gain up, let's go. Let's get it in there. Compressed it nicely so it was nice and level. And she does this note that is just like, every time I hear it, it's just, ugh.
So you take your music to the whole space of, like, you are a producer.
Yeah.
Have you got any sort of like formal training in this, or is this just all just like, I'm just going to sit here and absorb as much as I can from the environment around me? Yeah,
I'm obsessed. So I ask everybody questions. Every muso I meet, every person I meet, I follow Kobe Bryant a hell of a lot because he has the mentality of whatever you can do to be better each day. That's the goal. That's the thing. That's what you've got to do. So every day it's just YouTube channels. You focus, videos of how to mix, how to produce, how to create, how to do things that surround music. And everyone I meet, it's just low key. Again, don't know if the audience is into these sort of things, but a couple of
my
years
audience
back,
is I've done a psychedelic episode where I sat down with actually Jack. Jack was on the episode, and we just talked about
So I did DMT one time.
Yeah.
And
did you break through?
Yeah. I've done it a couple of times since then, but I did it this particular time, and there was a TV mounted on the wall, and the TV turned into a carnival game, And then the silhouette of the four figures from Queen, like, you know how on the album cover it's their faces in the diamond?
Yeah.
Excuse me. It was like that, but I couldn't see their faces. It was just like the silhouette of that, and it made me instantly recognize that. And then with my own voice inside my head, they told me that I wasn't taking music seriously enough. It's the thing that is my very being. It is my soul. It is the thing that connects me to myself, the universe, my people around me. It is just the essence of life itself. And that was with my own voice in my own head, just yelling at me, like telling me, motherfucker, you're not taking this seriously enough, to the point where I'm like, I get it. And they're like, no, you don't get it. You need to just obsess, because this is the thing that your life is about. And then ever since then, I've been obsessed. The only thing I want to talk about is music. The only thing that I care about is music. If I see a person that's playing without passion, I have very little fucking time for that, unless they're willing to go, what's the answer? How do I find that thing? How do I play with the energy like Trip Sitter plays with, like Queen played with, like, just that complete loss of fear, inhibition. You don't have that restriction in your brain anymore. You're just feeling everything, and then the audience is in that same thing, and you're meditating together, and it's just this energetic transference, and everyone's like, what the fuck did I just experience?
I love speaking to people like you.
Cheers, bro.
You are exactly what a musician is meant to be.
I appreciate that, man. I really do.
And this is 99.9% of everyone that I've spoken to on this has that mindset. You've come at it with so much passion and fire. I've never seen it before.
Cheers,
to the extent where you've actually had the DMT experience, where the gods have spoken to you and said, this is what you need to do, to the extent where you were trying to get yourself out of it.
I was like, guys,
I got it.
I got it. And they're like, no, we fucking see you, motherfucker. You don't have it yet. You need to realize this.
Wow. Yeah. So having that spiritual experience.
Yeah.
What happened after that? Like, okay, so you've had that experience. What were the next 6 months of your life like after that?
I recorded Realign, which was the EP that was on SoundCloud that I told you about, which was literally just borrowed gear and shoddy USB Rode mics that cost $200 that is straight just printer cable into the thing, through GarageBand and iPads and stuff like that, and moving around. And then, I don't know how to explain it, but just everything, just music. I was just doing
all
gigs.
Fell into place.
Yeah, I stopped thinking about it so much and thinking about what I had to do, and just was sort of doing it.
Shit the bed, man. That's experiences like that. Look, they're not for everyone. I'm not going to. One thing I've got to say is don't go out there and just start shoving shit into yourself. You got to make sure you got the right people around you. You can't
people you trust.
Yeah, not just that. You can't be too depressed when you do these things, because.
No. I've realized that it heavily connects into your subconscious and your imagination, and it's those two playing just at play. And they're just, so the other day, a couple of months ago, we had a fella come over and he had some DMT, and he's like, do you want to just do this? And I'm like, sweet, no worries, we'll see what's there. And I've been heavily obsessed with carpentry at the moment, and then my trip at the time was fractal carpentry.
Oh, wow.
So that to me tells me that over the experience, the amount of trips and things that I've seen and all that over the time of a couple of years or whatever it is, it's heavily it's a personal message, especially with DMT. Mushrooms and other things like that, they're a little different. They're a bit more, I guess,
visual.
Directed.
They're visual.
Thing. Yeah.
Acid, mushrooms, a bit more visual depending on the mushrooms you take. Acid's very visual and giggly.
Yeah. It comes down to the person too.
Yeah.
I've had mates that are a little bit, how you going? And they do acid, and then they're a bit more, how you going?
Oh, man. My experience with psychedelics were kind of like yours. It made me sort of realise that, for me, I was a very still am to some degree, very self-loathing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And when I sort of went through that experience with psychedelics and stuff like that, it made me realise that your self-loathing is the thing that's holding you back.
100%, man.
And
My girlfriend pulls me up all the time.
yeah, you know, my wife does the same thing, and it's counterproductive because the stress that you're putting on yourself, and all you have to do is just sort of just turn your head 360 degrees, and you realise that fuck, I haven't got it actually that bad. What am I self-loathing for?
Legit, man. Got power, we got food,
Yeah,
we got all the things we need.
yeah, you know, like and yeah, fuck. I mean, music is an international language that no one will ever understand, and you hit your nail on the head right there when you said when you see people that don't play with passion, you see right through it and it's dead. I
Yeah.
don't like it.
Yeah, I can
You
tell
lose
what you're
respect.
going through. Yeah.
But what you're
Yeah,
saying, that
but again,
spiritual experience that you're trying to have with the crowd, trying to involve them, trying to bring them in, connect everyone around you.
man, my favorite quote is from Prince, and he used to start his shows by saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're gathered here today to get through this thing called life." And that is my favorite quote to do
Wow.
with music. Yeah.
I did not know who said that. That's a fantastic quote.
He did it at the Super Bowl as well, I'm pretty sure, his halftime performance. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're gathered here to get through this thing called life, because if that's not the most honest thing when it comes to going to a show, like, we're all getting through life, we're all experiencing life, we've got hardships, good times, but when we go to a music show or a festival or something like that, we're gathering together to get through it together.
Mm-hmm.
This is our break where we get to take a breather and let go of the shackles and the heavy weights that we carry around every day.
Oh man, music. Fuck, I love it.
It's so good.
Well, man, you what you're doing, what you're presenting, what you're giving out to the world, the positive energy that you put behind your music in full force, it just breathes off you. The passion breathes off you. I can't wait to actually meet you in person and absorb and feed off some of your energy, because yeah, I can't wait to see what you present on the fucking stage.
It's yours, man. I'm here to share it. It's yeah, it's there. It's music, man. It's
So
why
you've
not
got
send it?
new and upcoming stuff. We've got the new and upcoming stuff. So you're telling me you're planning on doing 20 tracks.
Yeah. I'm doing all right. I'm stressing a little bit. It's called Ape Theory. So my best friend Aaron, he's like, why don't you call it like Ape Theory? Because the stoned ape theory is that monkeys started munching on mushrooms. It helped expand their consciousness, and then that's what turned us into modern humans.
Yeah.
And then that sort of divulged. I'm sitting here looking at the songs, and I had this idea of, wait a second, what if you were to make the songs about the story of the evolution of humans from monkeys, but then imagine like a Pink Floydish sort of song, right, about taking mushrooms and about the experience from the perspective of the monkey in that moment. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
So Learning to Walk could be a good song. When you take the mushrooms and it's expansion of consciousness, so you write a song about expansion of consciousness, and that fills the gap of that period of time. You know what I mean?
The creation of fire, and then sitting around on mushrooms and just staring into that abyss of what you've just created.
So you could do a mad folky campfire song. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's like sitting around the fire. So it sort of writes itself and gives the feeling to the songs and what they should be about.
Because that's a great thing about your style of music. You can move in any direction you want. And that was the one thing I was going to say, is that because you sit in that lo-fi country rock.
There's a little hip hop in there
Yeah,
too.
it's going on in the background right now. You got the sort of reggae hip hop stuff going on. Like you leave yourself so much space to move around and do whatever the fuck you want. So in theory, every album you could create could be a concept ever, depending on the concept you're going for.
Exactly. I just want to make interesting stuff, and I've never been able to settle on one genre.
Why?
It's as simple as that. Yeah, exactly. Why? I got a song with an artist called named Dylan Crow, and it's called In Time, and it is straight up just sub bass, wobble 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 wobble, and it's a fucking banger. Like, you'll hear it within the next year when we release it, but it's just bass and just kick, snare, hi-hats, clap, and just wobble 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 wobble, and it just hits.
So you're going to be the type of musician, if you ever make it big, or when you make it big, I should say. Let's put that good energy on it. When you make it big, you're going to have to be that type of musician that'll have to release your set list, because your music's so vast.
Yeah.
You don't want to do what supposedly the Chili Peppers done at their last show.
What happened there?
Oh, everyone was pissed off that they weren't playing. They didn't play many of the old songs. But the only problem was it was literally a fucking album tour. It was a tour for the
Yeah,
new album. Like,
if you're
what did you
touring the
fucking
new album,
expect?
it's not a world tour. It's not a greatest hits tour. It's a album tour.
Like,
Here's the new stuff.
yeah, and to be fair, it was, looked like a good maybe 35-40% was old. So
Yeah. I mean, that's always the hard thing when you become so big that you kind of get known for scar tissue or, you know. But then the other thing is they've got so many flippin' songs
yeah,
that you could do two tours just off the greatest hits.
mate, they literally could have done one album tour. They could have done two shows, one for the album, one of their
Mm.
greatest hits. They would have sold out
Yeah.
both.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, Chili's goes hard. I've got a lot of inspiration from Chili's too. Like I love what they do. Yeah, they're good.
They are. They're mate. You don't have a career that timeless and work with so many people. I mean, Anthony Kiedis is. I just saw his Joe Rogan,
Didn't he
his
sleep with
podcast with
Cher?
Joe Rogan. I don't remember hearing about that, but man,
Or no, actually, sorry, it's in Scar Tissue, the book. She babysat him or something like that.
who is this? His
Sure, babysat
Oh,
Anthony
maybe.
Kiedis when he was young, and I'm pretty sure he did his first drugs when he was like 15 or 16 or something
yeah.
like
I
that.
remember. I remember hearing about that. That was with his dad was like one of the biggest cocaine dealers in
Mm.
in LA or something, and he ended up doing coke and banging his stepmom or something. That's how he lost his virginity.
He was doing it before it was a category on Pornhub.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. He did it before it was cool, kids. Anthony Kiedis
He
is the
did.
man.
He did. So
Can we expect any merch or anything like that at the Jimna Rocks Festival?
100%. So I started a company with a good mate of mine, James Dean, the guy I told you about before, so that we can host our music festivals and manage us as artists and do the, you know, just sort of be the company that handles everything. And so if you go on www.junglejuicerecords.com, you'll find merch for myself, the Jungle Juice merch, and you'll find some for the Delegate as well, which is the other founder of the company. You'll find links to all the other artists that we work with, all the food vendors, all the people like that. So my whole thing is sharing the love. I want to work and get as many people paid as possible. And that's part of the reason for starting the music festival is like, well, we can all get paid from this. We can put 3,000 people in one place and you can do what you do best and you can get it, you know, if they like it, then you'll get paid for it. You know what I mean?
I like how you said that straight away. Work and get paid.
Man, it's the most important thing. You do the work, you want to get paid. And as a muser, you get sick of waiting 3 to 6 fucking weeks for an invoice to get paid when you know the company has the money and you know it's been paid and you're just waiting for them to do the transfer.
Ah, man, it seems to be a going struggle for every single musician at the moment, and alongside with venues shutting left, right, and centre, and not holding bands, and they're now becoming harder just for if you're anything bigger than a fucking 2-piece or a 3-piece, it's getting fucking harder and harder and harder.
And that's what Monkey Fest and Jungle Juice Records was about. It's like we need to step into a position where we actually have some pull. We can't just be talking from an artist position of power. We need to be in a position where we can talk to the people setting the flipping rules. And since doing Monkey Fest, I got invited to join some committee meetings and some things like that in the Sunshine Coast Council area and some things like that for the Nambour area entertainment district and various things to get some fresh blood into it. Because I'm so passionate about it and actually have some say in it. They got a fellow that's changing legislation in the local area to suit musicians and making them more of an entertainment district rather than just being a residential area. So there's a lot of really good things happening and a lot of people working really hard towards making it more inclusive and making it a place where you can actually send a 6-piece band and be like, you're going to not only get paid, but you're allowed to play fucking loud. You're allowed to hear the full range of frequencies in the sound that you're producing.
Dude, when the DMT god spoke to you, you fucking listened, didn't you? You've gotten into like the council side of things and shit like that. How is that sort of step over the mark been, coming from the more musical side and getting into the more political and business side of it?
I'm really lucky. I'm the luckiest man in the world, and I've said it my entire life. But I grew up around my mum. You know, in between the shit things that happen in your life and the stories and the horror stories that, you know, develop into who you are and stuff. I spent a bit of time on movie sets and things and TV show sets with my mum, Aya Garrity. She worked as a unit director and unit manager. So they, in a manner of speaking, they kind of handle the shit that you don't want to handle. If you need something done, you go to them and you be like, I need something done. I need this right fucking now. Like, let's go. And they're like, yep, no worries. Truck's over there. I'll go get it for you. It'll be here at this time. Like, just the assistant to everybody. And so I was lucky to see how things are run on a professional standard. I then went on to university. I started studying physio, fell in love with theatre there again, and was like, oh, I need to go into theatre again. So then started seeing again people like Loic Falmy, who came over from Europe and started doing things. I did some performances with him, and just seeing how it's run efficiently and professionally. And so then I've taken that to what I do with live gigs and shows and stuff, and just eating it up because it's just what I'm used to, you know, instead of coming from a place of, oh, I don't know how to do this. It's like, no, I've seen how they do this. I was on the set with my mum for Wolverine Origins, you know what I mean? So I've seen people running around like headless chooks, making sure shit's tight and everything's to a schedule, and, you know, the sacrifice you've got to take of, I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to make sure that if you have a problem, it's solved in the next 30 seconds.
Oh, so as soon as you came, it was never intimidating for you, was it? You just sort of walked in, oh, no, I'm doing here. You guys better be ready for me.
It's weirdly, if I don't have that, I'm depressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So in other words, you work well under pressure.
100%.
Yeah. Oh, I feel you, man. I feel you.
The lack of pressure is like, I'm bored and have nothing to do, and I can do this in a second, so I'm just not even going to do it.
No, why even bother? Why even bother trying?
Exactly, man.
Well, coming from that, I mean, what is Mickey's favourite albums? Like, if you could give me three, like, give me. I like to ask three to five, 3 or 5. Hey, if you can just spit them out of your most influential albums. Which was that?
Land of Pleasure by Sticky Fingers.
Land of Pleasure by, I think that's been mentioned before.
It's perfect. It's just, you know what I mean? Like, it's diverse. It's got dynamic range. It's got feeling. It's got heart. It's got lyrical depth. It's confusing enough that you can't make sense of it on the first listen, but it's familiar enough that on the first listen you're like, shit, I'd listen to that again. And then it flows from start to finish, and you could listen to every song and be like, shit, that's a good song.
Nice.
Next album would probably be Blackbird by Alter Bridge.
Ah, yeah.
So that's a bit more towards the progressive rock sort of side of things.
Sort of teetering into the metal.
It is. They really pushed it after that album and went into like AB3 and stuff like that, and Isolation and those sorts of songs. And they're like, we need to go harder. But Tremonti is just, when it comes to guitarists, that man is just a monster.
I like it.
Third album, I have no idea at this point. I just know that those two are top 3, easy.
There you go.
I
know 5's hard. Depends. Just out of curiosity, man, how old are you?
Old enough.
Okay. All right.
Nah, I'm old enough, man. I'm 20 now.
Oh, fuck. Still a young buck, man.
Yeah, getting there.
Hey, but you can speak it to you. You've already lived a lifetime.
Man, I've been through the shit.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately, my life has been both the best parts and the worst parts of one of those movies that you see on TV that you're like, God damn, I'm waiting for that turning point to just come and they get all the success. You know, the pursuit of happiness kind of shit where it's just an absolute shit show, and then you find that thing that just turns your life into something else.
Yep, you find your bliss. That.
But I've got that, luckily. I'm the luckiest man in the world. I got a great girlfriend. I got great friends. I live in a great house. I've got food in my belly, which is something I haven't always had. My rent's paid. You know, I've got power, and every couple of weeks I buy a new piece of fancy music gear, so I'm pretty set, man.
I love it. I love it. See, every musician you will speak to will have that exact same mindset
Yeah,
because we
man.
know, and a lot of them.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I hate saying it, but I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again: a damaged musician, a
Mm.
damaged person makes great musicians because they've been through it and they want to tell you about it and they're willing to tell you about it. They're not hiding it. They're wearing it on their sleeve and they do it through music.
Well, they process it, man. You don't hide from it. Like as a musician, you're not allowed to hide from your feelings because that's what makes the music.
You have to process it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when like people talk to me about stuff that I went through and I say it with a straight face and they're just like, "Whoa, man, I'm so sorry. I didn't, this and that." And I'm just like, "It's chill, man. I dealt with that years ago. You want to hear a song about it?" And they're like, "No, whoa, man. You're really good at dealing with shit." And it's like, "No, it's just been 15 fucking years, man. If you had 15 years to think about one thing, you'd have understood it pretty freaking well as well."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah.
Do Okay, so we talked a little bit off street.
Mhm.
Uh, so you said you came down to Sydney for a bit.
So I was born in Sydney, came up to Queensland, got kicked out of home, and then went back down to Sydney, got kicked out of home again, ended up homeless, yada, 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 absolute shit show. Back to Queensland, and then lots of doing things that I shouldn't, and then found music, and then fast forward a couple of years, 10 years of doing music, and then here we are.
Perfect. As long as
Yeah.
as long as you're here in this
Yeah.
space right now, this is where you need to be.
Yeah, man.
I'm
I mean,
so
I'm doing all the good things, which is a really good thing. It's you never really know how far you've sort of run or swum while you're in the water, if that makes sense. Like while you're paddling, like if you had a 100-meter race, you're paddling and you're going. You never really know how far you've got to go because you're just paddling,
Yep.
and you're like, I've just got to keep going. I was going to
Just
keep
keep
going,
going
and you
till you
don't
hit the wall.
realize. Yeah, and then you hit the wall, and you're like, oh wow, I just fucking nailed that.
Yes.
Sick.
That's good, man. It's such a good outlook. I love hearing positivity like this. You know what I mean? In a world where we've just come out of COVID, or not just come out of COVID, COVID's over and done with now, where we sort of just come out of it, and the world's fucking angry. The world is a very fucking angry place, to be quite frank, at the moment. But
Yeah.
when you speak to people like yourself and you hear the music that you do, and people need to take more time to process their shit and just get out there and just enjoy one another and just feel each other's energy and learn off one another instead of being so
I've never really
close-minded.
understood it, man. I'm like, we've got problems. Yeah, you can deal with them, you can process them, but like, it's your shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all of this stuff that has gone on. Like, I've had some shit that is just out of a bad movie, like, or a good, really good movie that makes you fucking cry, and it's just like, but it's mine. You know what I mean? Like, so when someone talks to me about it, it's like, you don't have to take that on, man. You got your own shit. I don't have to take your stuff on.
No.
So I'm not here to get mad or feel sorry out of other people's shit. I got my own shit to be mad about, man.
I heard this amazing quote, and it said, what did they say? They go, if the whole world threw all their problems in a big pile, you would run in there and grab yours back so fucking quick. It would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because they're your problems. You know how to deal with them in your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you give me any bands out there at the moment that you would say that people really need to watch out for?
Yes.
Yeah, we want to hear.
Two
We
of
want to
my
hear.
absolute favorites.
We want to hear about some local unknowns. Yeah, give me some of that.
Let me just fucking dust off my toilet roll, mate, because there's so many freaking good artists in the Sunshine Coast alone that I don't even know where to start. Okay, my favorite, Isaiah Hing and Pity Vincent. Pity Vincent, Pity Vincent, Pity Vincent.
Pity
These
Vincent.
young lads are just rock music, Led Zeppelin, and the dude's passionate. He loves it. They just go hard every single gig, and they work hard too, man. So Pity Vincent, Nuffin Butter, NUFFIN BUTTA, Nuffin Butter. That's the next one.
Yep.
Pity Vincent, Nothing Butter. Ali Rowe is just one of the nicest folk duos that you'll see. They're like Mumford and Sonsy sort of thing like that. Alavan Blue, they're another great one that are getting a lot of props at the moment, especially around the East Coast and everything. They do a lot of things with people like Kim Churchill and the Dregs and stuff like that. So Alavan's just solid. There's a bunch of people doing a whole bunch of cool things, but they're probably my top threes. I know one of my best friends, Aaron, he's doing some stuff this year. He's got some music coming out, Aaron Woodford.
Nice.
What do you actually? I'll get your input on this. What do you think of the stage name Ronnie Waters Foam?
What was that? Ronnie Waters Foam?
Ronnie Waters.
Ronnie Waters, I love it. It gives it that old. It depends though. Are you a blues folk outfit? Like I need.
Well, it's almost Jack Johnson-y.
I can handle that if the name fits that style really well.
Well, he's super positive. He's been best friend for I don't know how, like nearly 2 decades now. It's ridiculous. So, and he's just the most positive, friendly dude. He's the dude that's up on the D floor dancing, just loving life. You know what I mean? He's the guy that gets everyone else feeling like they don't have to think so much about the stressful shit.
Well, I say he sticks with the name.
I like it, eh?
I've
always liked it. He's unsure, but I reckon we can convince him.
Look, at the end of the day, really, what's in a name? Do you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's gonna all the name really needs to do is look good on an album cover or on Spotify.
There's what is it? What's that guy that's famous at the moment? I Show Speed. That's his name.
Fucking hell, that's a horrible name.
What did you get from?
What the fuck?
Right?
But hey, I'm sitting in my bedroom in southwest Sydney, and he's making
doing his thing.
Yeah, like shit.
Man, all power to everyone, man. If you're doing your thing, I got love for you, man. If you're going hard, and that's the thing. If you're doing your thing with passion, that's it. Hats off to you, man. You're doing your fucking thing.
Yeah, man. Who is anyone else to fucking tell you otherwise, though? You know what I mean? And even if they do, who gives a fuck about them? Push that energy aside and surround yourself with people that... Don't surround yourself with people that say yes all the time. Surround yourself with people that will give you constructive and wholesome criticism and help you work through it.
You gotta have people around you that are honest, man. Otherwise, you're just in this fantasy land.
Yep. Nothing worse than being surrounded by a fucking shitload of yes men.
Yeah, man. It actually does my head in. Sometimes, like, especially when I was doing that first album, I was showing it to people, and I'm like, can you please just give me some sort of criticism that is not just, man, it sounds good. You're like, please tell me what's fucking wrong with it so I can fix it. You know what I mean? Like, tell me anything apart from that's just good, you know? Like, that sounds really good. It's like, okay, but how can I make it better? How can we achieve more? How can we find the missing secret sauce and the thing?
Well, I think it really depends on what you're going for, isn't it? See, like, I made those comments about your tracks, yeah? And you've turned around to me and said that it was probably because it was recorded in a shitty-ass bedroom, and that's the reason why it sounds like that. Are you happy with the sound of the way that came out? Really?
Not quite. There's one song on there that I really like, but the rest I'm a bit like, oh, that could have been done a lot better.
Okay. So now...
especially, so the weird thing is, One Drink Too Many, it's like second or third song on the album. Everyone carries on and be like, that's my favorite song. But that is the worst mix. There's pitch problems. There's like pitch correction where it's done that wobble thing. And it's been like, bloop, bloop, while you're singing and stuff, and really overcorrected things. And everyone keeps coming at me and saying that's my favorite song off the album.
And you personally hate the mix?
If I could remix that in 45 seconds, I could have it sounding better.
Wow. Why don't you? Well, he'd be an interesting social experiment, or a musical experiment for that matter. Remix it, take the old track on, put the new track, take the old track out, put the new track back in exactly in that same spot.
Yeah. And
see if people fucking notice a difference.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. That'd be cool.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you will get the answer that you're looking for then, because you will either know that people can't hear what you're hearing, or you're over processing what you think is wrong.
Well, because I've thought about that as well. I've listened to a lot of songs from like Tash Sultana and Sticky Fingers, and you listen to their early albums, and when you've got like a producer's state of mind, the songs don't sound that great. But then I used to love those songs, and I still love the songs. I still think they're some of the best songs I've ever heard. but the production value isn't what I used to think it was. So is that your brain filling in the gaps and tricking you
I think
because
that's
you
your
don't
brain.
have all the information?
I think your brain switched into work mode. I think your
That
brain.
too.
I think every time you hear music now,
Yeah,
your brain is automatically on work mode.
100%,
Which
100%. I
which
can't
which
go
is
to a
there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means that I guess now when you walk into the studio next time,
hmm,
I don't want this. I want this. I'm going to achieve this. I want this sound. There's going to be there's a lot less compromises this time around compared to
hmm.
what you made on the first one.
Oh, definitely.
But I'd be really interested to see if you actually re-recorded that, dropped it in, got the same people to listen to it, and see if they still had that same reaction towards it.
Yeah, I wonder. Imagine if they hated it. Imagine if they were just like, man, something happened. My favorite song's not that one anymore.
Yeah, but that means, well, I think that might mean then you can take those overproduced pitchy bits and keep them.
Hmm. Well, it could almost mean that you just have to strip it back because I've always been, if I have the gear and I've got the facilities to do it, live recordings like they used to do, full band in a room,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
all at once. You just one take, whole band, we press R and it fucking goes and we're good.
I'm gonna link you a video after. I'll actually tell everyone about this anyway.
Yeah.
I've got to hopefully done it. Hopefully it's still up on YouTube. But there was a guy that did the Exist Within EP back in the day when we done it. Antonio Hanna from Freefall Studios. The guy's a fucking genius. The guy's he's taken his empire to Europe now. He's thriving. And he did a live studio session where he got
Yeah.
all the really, 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 really good recording gear.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I knew one or two of the bands that were on there. And I'll tell you what, I actually preferred that compared to the finished product of their CDs in the weirdest sort of way.
And you know what I think it is? It's so like back in Motown days and shit, they used to record vocal harmonies. So if you imagine the doo-wop girls,
Yep.
Yep. They used to record them around one microphone and they'd have all three sitting back here. So you've got the wash of each voice moving together and then the physical properties of the audio file. It like the physical, like audio is a physical thing. When I speak to you, it actually the physical teleportation of that sound.
Yeah, sound waves.
Yeah. So it combines those and creates more depth in those rather than me just singing it once, then singing the next part, then singing the next part and squishing them together there. They're not in the same room. No matter how hard you try, they're not blending together naturally as they normally would.
That's such a good idea because if they have that distance from the microphone and they're standing next to each other, by the time that frequency makes it to the mic, you're right. It's all mashed together. It's combined. Wow.
Any frequencies that are doubling up, they're cancelling in a natural space, then going into the microphone instead of cancelling digitally once they've gone through the microphone.
So you're really trying to bring back this. I love this. I love this shit. You're really trying to bring back that old school.
As much as possible, man. Like I'm limited to the money and the gear that I've got. But as much as possible, running things through analog plugins and analog mixing desks and shit like that. So I got a fun fact for you. So you know Strawberry Fields, the song "'Cause I'm Going to Strawberry Fields." You know how it has those like weird drop down moments?
Yeah.
And it just changes, and it's automatic like Strawberry Fields. So they actually recorded that in like 7 or 8 different studios on different tape machines. And then because they had the different sections, so like let's say they had verse from this studio, pre-chorus from this studio, chorus in this studio, then they're like, oh, we actually like these versions of each different bit. They've stuck them together, run them all through a same tape machine, turned it into one tape, and then that's why you've got these changing tempos and different feelings and frequencies and shit.
Because back then that's what they would have been doing. They wouldn't have been recording the way we are. Like it
exactly.
For anyone out there, like for anyone out there that probably wouldn't understand what he's really talking about here, is every single room that they would have recorded in would have been a different dimension. They would have used different microphones. They would have been in different spaces. They would have been standing in different spaces. Each time they recorded it, it would have sounded this different or this different. And what the Beatles have essentially done in that, they've fucking just mashed whatever bits they like together from each recording studio. We could have been, like you said, verse and year. Wow.
And then forced it to work. And that's why you get little slight tempo changes. You get that warping, like when you pitch correct something too hard. It, yeah, it's beautiful.
Wow. You are a wealth of knowledge, my friend.
It's picking up random little bits from different friends. I got that particular piece from Alex Bilby, who I played in a band called the Sons of Beaches for a little while.
Wow. Man, it's good that you surround yourself with so many like-minded people that really that are creative like you. It's hard to
find. Got it, man. You'd go insane if you didn't have people to communicate the feelings that you feel on stage and off stage. You know, that high that you get when you perform and everyone's losing their mind, but then it drops like a fucking brick when you come off stage. It's like a drug. You need time to recover and rebuild your energy.
Being on stage is better than any drug I've ever fucking taken in my life, and the come down is worse than any fucking drug I've ever had in my life.
It's pretty bad.
It's brutal, especially when you do it, you're fucking so amped and you walk off and then that's it.
And then everyone wants a piece of you, and you're just like, oh, I need to process feelings and things right now. Just
that's there. You sneak out the back for a bunger. Oh, just give me 5. That's it. Jeez, man. All right.
It's fun.
What's your opinion on the art of bands writing albums these days? Because so you're doing this your aim is to do this 20-track concept piece. Are you going to release that as a full fucking fledged album, or are you going to appease the algorithm gods and sort of play into the waterfall technique and try it that way to try and, because at the end of the day, as much as it pains me to say it, you want to get somewhere. You know, like making music is fun, making music is great, but you put yourself out there to sort of hope that you fucking people receive your message and you get somewhere.
So I yes, 100%. I do want that. I would love the Bruno Mars-y fame levels, the money and all that sort of stuff.
I don't even think that. I'm more saying just to make it sustainable where you don't have to have a fucking full-time job.
Oh, well, I do this full-time, man. I spend all my time.
You are success incarnate, my friend. Yeah. Your next step is Bruno Mars. I love it.
And that's sort of where it's just like, you know, like, I had a friend, so my song Runaway that you said you liked, I had a friend of mine, Julian, who went a bit too far on the psychedelics and ended up in rehab.
Yep.
But he spent 6 months, and he told me that he had that song Runaway on repeat, and that's what got him through. So when it comes to success, what's your scale of success, man? Because that has touched my heart more than any fucking money. I can remember that over any gig that I've been paid for, and I've been paid fucking $3-4 grand for a gig. You know what I mean? So like, what's your
success?
Scale of success?
I love it. Oh man, this guy knows exactly what music is about, what it's meant to be about. I come here sitting here from a punter's perspective, an ex-musician, as it were, thinking about the more monetary and business side of it, and I've been humbled by this man sitting across from me at the fucking computer screen.
Man, it's both. It's honestly both. It's the music business. The music is the feeling. The business is the money.
Yep.
You know, if you subtract one and you don't have the other, then it becomes toxic, and that's sort of what's happening. You got artists that are underappreciated because they're all feeling and they don't understand the business. Then you have people that are all business and they fucking just rape and pillage these artists for everything they've got because they're all business. They don't understand what it takes to feel on stage, to walk off stage and be like, I'm exhausted, but I could still keep going and go out there and do that again because they want me to do it and they're giving me the energy to do it.
Fuck, man. Seriously, dude.
Whatever
is going on in your realm at the moment is just fucking beautiful. It's so good to see.
I appreciate that.
Dude, man, it's in a world where like Sydney, I'm just watching places close left, right, and centre. You know, my love is music. My passion is music. My love is heavy metal. Do you know what I mean? Like I love metal. Like it's what stepped me onto my path of finding out what the rest of the world had to offer in music. But all I see is venues fucking closing left, right, and centre, and it scares me, man. And it scares me. And then when I speak to people like you, and it makes you feel a lot better because there's still passion, there's still drive, there's still that energy to break the system of the raping and the pillaging on the business side of things.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing stopping us from getting our mates together that amuse us and throwing a house party. You know, me and my mate James that started Jungle Juice Records, we've been hitting up everyone that's got property, and they've all said the same thing. Man, Keen, you need 100 acres. We've got a property out here. Come and do a festival on our thing. You know, we'll be doing one in Kilkeven in a little bit. You know, we've got one down here in Marshall Lakes, and we sort of realized we've got to stop asking these fucking idiots for permission for something that they don't understand.
All they hear is how much is it going to make me?
Oh, this seems popular. Okay, cool. This is the long-haired Yahoo singing the emotional folk song. Nothing against them. I love you boys. I love every single one of you. I make folk songs myself. But when it comes to a business side of things, all they see is the image. They don't feel the music. They're just like, oh, they can sell.
No, exactly. All they see is you as a cow with fucking dollar signs printed all over you.
How many dollars can I get out of this, and how many do I have to give you? And then subtract them from each other, and then that's how valuable this is to me.
And 9 times out of 10, they'll try and stiff you for fucking paying you as well.
And I'm super lucky, man. Like, my whole point with Munkey Fest, and I'm very lucky, and I feel very fucking grateful because I made sure that, like, it cost me, I think, $2,500 or something, me and James, to put it on. But every single person got paid. Every single person was looked after. Every single person had a good time. And the worst thing that happened was we had 2 friends of ours that were laughing too hard and headbutted each other and cracked one of the other's nose because they headbutted each other from laughing too hard.
If that's the worst that happened, mate, that's what I'm talking about, man. Like, that was right. But that's what I experienced at Jimna last year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I went up to that festival and I was like, man, here was my honest opinion. I'm like, I know Queenslanders. You're crazy. I love it.
We are crazy motherfuckers.
I fucking love it. In small doses.
It's a good vibe, man, but you need your 5 days to recover from the 3.
Well, that's it. I've taken a week off after gym. Taking a week off work. But I was expecting, man, I'm going in there, I'm like, man, this is gonna get fucking loose. And it did. But everyone was so well behaved, and I don't mean like
it's respectful.
That's it. They were respectful. They respected the space. They respected the people they were around. It was just 10 out of 10 in my books.
And I think, to me personally, that's what Australia's all about. You can blow shit up. You can be drunk off your fucking ass. You can do any drug you fucking like. But if you're disrespectful, that's the fucking line.
Man, that's it.
And that's all of a sudden, you've got a whole town of people going, you're the common fucking denominator and you're done.
Yep. And I'll tell you how they deal with...
what Australian spirit is that when it really comes down to it, do what you fucking want, mate. But when you start fucking with our community, that's the line. That's where you got to go. You either change your ways real fucking quick or you get the fuck out.
Yep, and you'll learn. Especially in Queensland. Jeez.
Oh, yeah, man. Man, I looked up the stats the other day. So my granddad fought in Vietnam, and he also fought in Borneo, which was another war. And the stats from that, right? Australians are the toughest motherfuckers. So America lost, I think, like 50,000 or something like that, troops, or some random thing like that. I've forgotten the numbers because I smoke a little too many joints. Europe and the other people that got involved and all these other ones, similar sort of numbers. Australia lost about 50. Yeah. We legitimately lost it. So, like, Australians are tough as fucking nails, dude. Like,
all that bush warfare ain't gonna work on a bunch of people that grew up in the bush. He's fucking right there.
So, like, yeah, man. Like, when it comes to Australia, you got to respect it, and it's just toughness, man. Like, but it's respect. It's love.
Yeah.
It's love for the land. It's love for the people. It's love for the person that I don't even know that's standing next to me, because if you disrespect them, you're disrespecting me as well. You're disrespecting my home.
That's it, man. You just respect the space that you consume around you.
Yeah.
Especially the
100%.
fruit, especially if you're picking from the fruits of the country. You know what I mean? If you appreciating the fruits, and hey, not all fruit's going to be great. Sometimes the fruit ain't going to be good, but you're still getting fruit.
Well, I'm super lucky because I've got my grandparents on my left-hand side, my mum's side. They're all German.
Oh,
So they experienced all the shit, all the brutal shit and that
yeah.
sort of side of things. And then my dad's side is all English and Irish.
Oh,
So that was the whole getting kicked out of Europe and being sent over here as a prisoner
yeah.
and shit like that. So it's like fucking bullshit on one side, fucking
Bullshit on
bullshit
the
on the
other.
other side, come to Australia. And that, I think that's the essence of what it is to be Australian, because it's acceptance no matter where you come from. If you respect the fact that we're all in this together, you're good.
Yeah. Dude, write a book. Have you
I've thought
started?
about
Have you started?
it.
Oh, I was waiting for you to say I've already started.
I low-key have. I've got a mate who's already agreed, and he said he is determined to be the one to write my biography one day, and just to write the memoirs or whatever the fuck it is.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Dude.
Because low-key, man, I don't know if you really want to go down this road, but I've been homeless. I had the
Well, tell us how that
really.
happened. How'd you end up homeless?
I was doing stupid shit with the wrong crowd. From the age of like 14, 15, I was throwing rocks at buses and doing drugs, stealing shit and bashing people and getting bashed and doing, the usual degenerate shit and hanging out on the streets and, you know what I mean? Like reaching over counters at convenience stores while your mate distracted them and shit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just degenerate sort of shit. And then I got brought home by the cops one night at like 3:30 in the morning, and my mum and her partner were going to work at 4 o'clock in the morning or some shit like that. And it was just cops brought me home. Mum's crying in the room. Brian, mum's partner at the time, standing there, smacks me in the fucking face and says, "You dare do this to your fucking mother? Get the fuck out of my house." And I was like, you know what? Fair enough.
At least you were man enough to admit fair enough.
Well, see, I ended up doing the whole fuck it, whatever. That's fair enough. I'm out. Ended up homeless, doing the bullshit. Lived in a crack house for a little while.
Oh.
Was proper homeless, like living in King's Cross and Woolloomooloo. Woolloomooloo is like the slums of King's Cross.
Yeah, I
know. So I was there for a little bit. I lived in the Backpackers that's directly above the train station at King's Cross. I once watched this dude named Andre, which was a steroid head or whatever you want to call him. Like he just did steroids out his ass, left, right, and center. Bald. He'd walk around the streets, right, wearing a skin-tight, hot pink top with painted nails. But the dude was a bodybuilder that was jacked and 120 fucking kilos. With a British accent, any time that someone would look at him twice, he'd be like, "What, you want a box? You want a box?" And get in their face and try and punch on with them. Like anybody, random, just like people that look like you and me. And he threw a fridge off of the top of the fucking Backpacker into the main street of King's Cross.
Fuck. Dude.
Yeah, dude.
Dude. So, and then when did your homelessness sort of end?
I was standing in court after spending a couple of weeks in juvie, standing in court, and because I'm the luckiest man in the world, as I've said before, my granddad, who just so happened after he went to war and fought in Borneo and Vietnam, he ended up going and become a Queen's Counsel, which is one of the most highly respected lawyers in the industry. And he found out that I was in court about to go to jail for a couple of years for doing stupid shit. And he called him up and said, "Nah, this is not happening. You're sending him up to Queensland." And the judge basically said, "Yep, no worries."
Wow.
And I'm standing in court in handcuffs, and they said, "You either have the choice to stay in New South Wales and cop the charges and go to jail, or you can fuck off out of our state and never come back."
Well, I would have taken the latter as well.
Cheers, boss. Have a good life. Not going to remember your name.
Wow. So, man, I'm so happy that you've come out the other side and really found your passion, your bliss, what got you through. Like, and thank goodness for your granddad, like that lifeline, mate. I'm really not a religious man, but You got some angels fucking living on your shoulders.
His name is Sidney Ronald Garrity, and he passed away about 2.5, maybe 3 weeks ago.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss, my man.
He lived a very strong life. He was a very good man, and he defended and loved everything that he did. And I'll respect that man till the day I fucking die, and I'll tell my kids to respect him as well, because he was a man. Like, he fought in 2 wars. He respected the people that he cared about. He drew respect. He was part of the Lions Club. He was part of the council. He really cared about his community and doing it right. You know, he didn't do drugs. He didn't do shit that he shouldn't. He was just, you know what I mean?
Stoic.
Yeah.
Just a stoic man.
Yeah.
Man, you're going to bring a tear to my eye.
Yeah. Hopefully, man, that's what life's about. You know what I mean? Like, that's my other thing too, is that we're meant to feel these things. That's why we have emotions. If you got to feel something, feel it, let it happen, let it pass, let it do its thing, and then...
And that's a real man talking.
Yeah, man. I ain't afraid to fucking cry.
That right there. That right there is a real man talking.
Appreciate that, brother. So what else are we talking about?
Man, we're about to hit the wrap up. Like, dude, I want to have you back on another time. I do this other little thing called Behind the Beers.
Cool.
And that's where we really go on a big deep vibe. I'm trying to keep these a bit shorter for the Jimna Rocks thing. But when I come up there, I'll be bringing my computer and stuff up. So straight after you set, after you decompress and you've had time to settle yourself, we'll do another interview and we'll talk about how you're going and stuff like that as well.
Dude, keen as, man.
Yeah, man. Like, I love these things. And by the way, if you ever would like me to do this for you, for any of your stuff, man, hit me up. We're happy to do it. I do another podcast called Two Dudes Talk Music as well.
Sick.
Yeah.
Man, honestly, I'm keen to talk shit. I have, like, an insane story. Like, I can tell you some crazy... I worked in a strip club for a little while, and the shit you fucking see and hear from that... I seen a woman light her vagina on fire.
Is that?
Yeah.
Wait.
Do the math, man. Like,
No.
It's...
I think I've seen... I feel like I've seen that stripper.
It's fucking intense, man. I feel sorry for her.
No, but she does it heaps quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the time that I think I saw it...
Could you imagine we're both sitting next to each other in the club like, what the fuck is this?
It very well could have been, but when she done it, she didn't quite put it out.
True.
Like, she got it out, but she was like, oh, shit, like, oh, I didn't put this out.
Where was it, though? Where was it? Is this in Sydney or Queensland?
I want to say it was in Sydney.
Okay, no, see, mine was in Queensland.
Okay.
Maybe she travels.
Well, I'm sure they do.
Like a traveling circus.
Well, yeah, I mean, a couple of these guys are probably going to the same clubs. You want to go for a holiday in Sydney for a bit, work. Yeah. But yeah, Mick, please come back on again when I've got like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I can grab a 6-pack.
See?
And we can really get into this. And I want to have you on.
Talk shit.
I want to have you on Two Dudes Talk Music to the other podcast because especially I love people. I love musicians that basically start with saying, I started with shit. I didn't need to sit there and write all these songs and save up hundreds and thousands of dollars to get into a recording studio and shit like that.
You'll like this then. So this guitar I busked in the Lullaby for a year straight. It cost me $3.5 grand. So I was busking all the time, doing all the things. My mates decided that they wanted to get drunk and fucking fall onto it in the couch. So now it's been pushed through the front. But like, see all that?
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah. So this was my baby. That was the first guitar I ever bought. It's a Maton. All that wear and tear is from playing it so much because I was doing like 6 to 8 gigs a week, traveling around Australia, doing all the things. I got heaps of stories for you, man. I'll happily come on the podcast.
Do it, man. Man, if I didn't have to get up for fucking work so early, I'd be there.
Yeah. Shit, G, bro.
But unfortunately, I have a 4 o'clock wake up in the morning.
Oof.
Yeah, it's the life of a factory worker, my friend.
What kind of factory?
I work in a sauce factory. I won't say the company. But yeah, we make
Getting
sauce,
I
condiments,
do,
and,
I do like getting sauced.
yeah, I like getting sauce too. It's a shame it's not that sauce. I wish I worked at the beer factory.
Cheers to getting sauced.
Mate, cheers to getting sauce. Mick, thank you so much, dude. Really, I I want to. I sincerely would love. I'm going to have you back on after Jimna Rocks, and we're really gonna get to know your whole story inside out, back to front. Yeah,
See?
we're really gonna get into it. But
Plenty of it, man. There might be some tears.
no, I hope so, man. I'm all about trying to learn from other people's experiences. You know what I mean? People have such amazing stories to tell for the most part, as long, you know, and
Well,
we
maybe
can.
we can tell a bit of your story as well and get people seeing a bit of what you got going on.
No. Unfortunately, my one goes down as a family secret.
Ah,
My one dies with me and my brother.
half your luck, man. I'm a muser. I'm in the public eye. I gotta tell
Yeah.
all this shit.
Oh, dude, don't get me wrong. I'd maybe one day after a good handful of beers, I might get sourced enough, and I'll tell the story. But at the moment, yeah, I've been through my trauma. It was weird.
It was weird. That's
Yeah,
the best way to put it.
it was weird. I'll tell you about it after, but I won't announce it on here. I'll tell you about it straight
Yeah.
after. But yeah, it was weird, but it made me the person I am. It made me see the world in a very different light, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate the family that I'm around now.
Fucking
That's
A.
all that matters at the end of the day. But Mick, before we wrap up tonight, please, I know you're in. Like, give us the best and loudest Jimna Rocks that you can give me in the space that you're in without waking anyone up. 1, 2, 3.
Jimna Rocks, you sons of a bitches.
Beautiful. All right, give everyone a wave, Mick.
Catch you later, guys. Have a great night. Thanks.
All right, you legends. Thank you so much. Tune in tomorrow. I'll be back with, oh God, the Wayward Sons. That's who's on tomorrow. I've got the Wayward Sons on tomorrow, so we'll be chilling out, talking to them boys, going through some of their catalogue. And I saw them at Jimna Rocks last year, but just in case you didn't, it's my first interview with them. Let's see how it goes. All right, champions, 8:30 tomorrow. Be there or be square, and I'll catch you later. One more wave.